Hey there, Spence. I did go ahead and make this program. It's in a very bare bones state right now, but it does produce results, and from there we can fine tweak it. The main thing right now is it gets people in rooms, and then it has a bunch of people left over, and just says, "Hey, here's these people left over." That you have to figure out. You can see this room is -1. I put -1 just because that's obviously not a real room, and it's just saying, hey, here's all the people who didn't get a room, or basically people who don't have a room currently. So, starting with the Excel spreadsheet, I reformatted the Excel spreadsheet into two different sheets. So this one shows basically people who want a room together. I have them as room. You could say that as group, whatever. It doesn't really matter. But overall, these are people who want to stay together. What I have now is I have in each group the people who should not be put in this group. Um, next thing I do is I assign each person a numerical ID. This is alphabetically sorted by first name because it was easiest to do that in Excel. So everybody has a number. After that, I have a rooms sheet, and this basically says the capacity of the room. So we have 2, 3, 4 here, and then how many rooms of that capacity we have. So in this case, we have like 5 rooms of 3, 4 rooms of 4, 6 rooms of 2. What I do then is I have basically these group preferences that instead of having them in the names, it converts it to their corresponding ID, just because that's a lot easier for the computer to parse. And then there should be another one of these, for the exclusions as well. Exclusions currently isn't working because some of these people, I believe, are missing from the main itinerary, but I'm sure once everything gets sorted out, that'll clear itself up. So what I do is I basically point the program to this one Excel file, and from there it's able to find these different spreadsheets. And again, right now it's really bare bones. There's no graphical interface. It is just this kind of command line interface in text. It's not too hard, a little bit tedious, but it's really not that hard to turn this into a nice graphical interface. That'll just be a few hours of putting it into, for me, it's called JFrame, and making it look nice. But if I go ahead and run this program, it's going to go through the Excel files, find each different group, and what it's going to do is it's going to go through and it's going to say room 10. Room 10, this is basically the same number as the group number. So if we go to group 10, we can see it's the same people. But basically they're saying, okay, so this is a group of 4. These 4 people got put in it, but since it's a group of 4, since it's a room of 4 and there's 5 people in this group, it's basically saying the person left over from this group is right here. Same thing with here. So room 9 has this same issue. 1 person's left over. We can see that repeated. People who are not put into a room because their room is, in this case, only able to hold 3 or 4, etc., etc. It continues until eventually we see some of these people are not being kicked out of their room because there's not enough, space. Eventually, so again, also these are sorted by big group to small group. So we can see up here we have groups of 5, down to groups of 4, down to groups of 3. So the way this is designed is that the rooms that can hold the most people are fitted with the groups that have the most people, to try and minimize the amount of people or minimize the amount of empty spaces. Overall, there are still people spots where I believe, in this case, I didn't really give much space in the rooms. If this was more accurate, I'm sure it would work out better. But basically what happens is everybody gets rooms, and then we have basically the leftover list here of people who need to go somewhere. Now, there's a few ways I can do this. First of all, what I'm going to do is each one of these rooms, I'm going to add a gender, quote unquote gender component, or just like a general grouping component where each one of these people has to go in a appropriate room. They can't go into a room of opposite gender or whatever the case, or specific people have to stay in this one certain room. So I can add that in later. At the end of and also when it's figuring all that stuff out, I'll also add in the thing where it says this person cannot go in this room. The only thing is that it gets a little bit messy dealing with that because if some people are being shimmied around, and then it gets a little bit weird, but overall, I'm sure we can talk that over. But yeah, we can. It puts people in rooms, and then it leaves the leftovers. So I'm sending this to you. You can let me know what you think, and I can work on it further. The main thing now is sending these people who are left over into other rooms. That's going to be the next thing I need to work on. But yeah,